I heard about Naval Ravikant for the first time on a 12-day walkabout in Sevilla, Spain in the summer of 2022. Now, a walkabout is something I learned from Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights, and it's basically a 12-day, very introspective retreat to go within yourself and learn a lot about yourself. And I was pretty lost at that time. I'd quit college football about 4 months ago. I'd really started working on myself and my mental health, and I was trying to figure out who I was. And I decided to skip a corporate internship to go backpack Europe with a really good friend that summer. And how I ended up alone in the south of Spain for 12 days working on myself probably reflects that lostness, but I will save that story for potentially another video. The point is, I was at a very strange transition period in my life. I didn't know what my future was supposed to be. The allure of a high-paying corporate finance job was seeming less and less enticing by the day. After getting my mind blown open by people from all around Europe and all around the world, and just traveling the world completely free with a backpack, a toothbrush, my computer, and like 3 books and 3 pairs of clothes, I couldn't imagine going back for the next 40 years of my life and sitting in a cubicle after tasting that freedom. The thought actually terrified me. And because my anti-vision was becoming stronger and stronger by the day of the life I did not want to live, my curiosity seemed to be primed for a signal of a new path. And that signal was seeing the Naval Ravikant and Joe Rogan podcast on my YouTube recommended. And if you haven't watched that podcast, I'd recommend adding it to your watch later after this video, but finish this video first. Watching that podcast was like taking the red pill for how I was viewing life, work, career, happiness, etc. And there's a few quotes that we'll throw up on the screen here that really encapsulate the essence of what Naval was saying in this podcast that completely blew my mind open. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, a piece of a business, to gain your financial freedom. The internet has massively broadened the possible space of careers. Most people haven't figured this out yet. Code and media are permissionless leverage. They're the leverage behind the newly rich. You can create software and media that works for you while you sleep. I couldn't unlearn these principles after I heard them. I knew I had to do something different, but I didn't know what to do. But I knew I liked writing because I'd been journaling to myself for months. And so 5 days later, after I listened to that podcast, I coincidentally started writing my first ever newsletter, which at the time was called The Weekend Drift, on a 7-hour train ride by myself from Madrid to Paris. And I asked like 10 people in my personal life to read this email. 7 of them said yes, and 3 of them actually said no. And of the 7 that said yes, those included my mom, my dad, my aunt, my grandpa, my grandma, and my cousin, and like 1 or 2 actual close friends. And at the time, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But for some reason, my intuition told me that despite fear of judgment, taking action in this new domain would lead to something good down the line. I just didn't know what. And so, despite not having a plan or knowing anything about marketing or email marketing or funnels or audience building, etc., I kept on writing. And because I kept on writing, I kept exploring ideas. And because I kept exploring ideas and now I'd found Naval, I went down this online business rabbit hole. So the first person I found was Alex Hormozi. He kind of blew my mind open in terms of entrepreneurship. I always heard of entrepreneurship, but I didn't really know what it was until I found Alex Hormozi. Next was Dan Coe, then was Justin Welsh, then people like Dickie Bush, Dakota Robertson, J.K. Molina, etc. And before I knew it, I was in this niche corner of the internet called Money Twitter. So I won't go too deep into my entire business journey in this video. I've talked about it throughout other videos, but I started making money online after finding Money Twitter by selling a skill as a service. That skill was ghostwriting. About 17, 18 months later now, I've made nearly 6 figures in income. I've generated tens of millions of impressions across platforms, and I've ghostwritten over 1,000 Twitter threads. But at this time, I've nearly pivoted out of ghostwriting, the skill, the freelancing skill. Other than writing for Cortex, which is the biggest online education software company within the creator economy, I'm at the point where I don't have to sell a skill or a service like that, like freelancing, ghostwriting, to make an income. That was stage one of the mental monetization or the creator monetization journey. Stage two is where the leverage kicks in. It's monetizing your mind. That's where real influence, income, impact, and leverage really kick in. Why is this important? It is predicted that 30% of jobs will be automated by 2030. Experts at McKinsey actually predict anywhere from 400 to 800 million jobs worldwide will be outsourced to automation by 2030. And the reason is because no-code tools, softwares, AI are replacing these monotonous, tedious tasks that are normally done by human beings at a fraction of the cost. So everybody can see this trend coming, right? Like we see the AI revolution happening, but it's a rare individual right now in 2024 who is actually taking actionable steps to arm themselves and to protect themselves against this automation revolution. So why? Why is nobody making any changes to arm themselves for the future? I think the reason is a lack of awareness of an alternative path. And the alternative path, one that is AI proof, is building a brand and a business behind your own name in the creator economy and learning how to monetize your mind instead of trading your time for money. So I believe that this is what human beings will gravitate towards as we proceed into this automation revolution and this information age. On this note, I believe AI and automation will liberate human beings for creative work rather than robotic, monotonous work. Throughout history, new jobs are always being created, but it's impossible to predict what the new jobs will be. If you had told somebody in the 1950s that playing video games, recording conversations via podcasts, and actually reacting to somebody else's videos like a YouTube streamer could be a viable and very lucrative career path in the future, they would have called you crazy. And if you even go back further to say the 1500s, if you would have told somebody that we could broadcast our thoughts and I could talk to you through a screen right now and you'd be able to watch it across the world, they wouldn't have been able to comprehend what you're saying. So the point is, it's impossible to accurately predict what type of work will become available in the future. But we know it will be work that robots and automation can't do. That type of work will be creative work. Your new employees, once we have these automation tools, are the softwares and no-code tools doing these monotonous tasks for you 24/7 while you sleep at a fraction of what it costs to hire an employee. We are experiencing something that Naval has coined the atomization of the firm. And what he means by that is the optimal size for a company is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller all the time, right? We're seeing this with startups in the Silicon Valley. The ideal startup now is 5 to 10 people who can take action super fast. So the size of the optimal company, I believe, will get smaller and smaller to the point where the optimal size of a company is one person, you. Now, any human being with a phone or a device and a connection to the internet can access infinite leverage through code and media, the leverage of the new rich, so long as he learns how to distribute the message properly and has an offer on the back end to monetize that. And if you're interested in working with me throughout this process to learn how to build a digital resume and monetize your mind via the creator economy, I have an upcoming cohort called the Sovereign Creator Cohort starting in April. You can find out more information in the link in the description below. On this note of the leverage of the new rich, let's dive a little bit deeper. So creative work is the leverage of the new rich. Steve Jobs once said that the computer is a bicycle for the mind. But if the computer is a bicycle, the internet on top of the computer is a rocket ship. Here's what I mean. The internet and its 5.2 billion node connection is the most powerful form of leverage in human history. So leverage is your key to time freedom, location freedom, and financial freedom eventually. Leverage is the disconnect between your inputs and your outputs. With internet leverage, you can send a tweet, record a podcast, or build a product and reach anybody in the world with connection to the internet. The quality of your ideas and your ability to use the internet will determine your reach in this digital economy. Leverage equals reach. The internet plus your mind equals idea leverage. You increase leverage by 1, upgrading your ideas, and 2, increasing your skill of using the internet. So yes, using the internet is a skill. It's one step upstream of sales, writing, content, marketing, persuasion, community building, product building, audience growth, etc. Scaling any of those skills is impossible without improving your skill of using the internet. If you combine that with daily self-education to upgrade your ideas, and you apply what you're learning in real time to your creative work and creative projects, and do it for 10 years, you can build so much leverage where you can work essentially for 30 minutes a day and make as much money as you want if you have the leverage in the systems built. Now, it takes a long time to get to that point, but knowing that it's possible and putting it in your awareness will give you something to orient towards in the long run. With the internet as a rocket ship for your mind, there are no limits to where you can go. So throughout the rest of this video, we're going to dive into the 2 main stages of how you can build a creative career, build digital leverage, and monetize the ideas inside your mind. So stage 1 is monetizing your time. So what does this look like? It looks like learning a modern high value skill, an emphasis on the words modern and high value. Modern means a skill that's anti-fragile and will likely be in demand for years foreseeable into the future. High value means a skill where you can make a full-time income signing only 2 to 3 clients a month. But you might be saying, okay, what are modern high value skills? And so here are some options if you are unaware and if you're starting from zero. You could do ghostwriting, copywriting, web design, video editing, funnel building, email marketing, AI prompt engineering, SEO, design and animation, sales, high ticket sales, etc. With any of these skills, you can learn 90% of the skill with 20 hours of self-education on YouTube and a project to funnel your learnings through. But the issue is it takes most people 20 years to put in the first 20 hours. So if you have no idea what to pick, what I would recommend is choosing a skill that aligns with your natural curiosities. So here's why I chose ghostwriting. 1, I already liked writing. It was something I'm doing for myself, and I realized, okay, I like writing. I feel like I could write a lot quick, and I'm understanding the social media game intuitively and growing myself so I could help other people do it. Another reason I chose ghostwriting is because it's a high value skill, meaning you can sign 2 to 3 ghostwriting clients and make a full-time income and replace your income or leave college. And that's what I did. I signed 2 full-time ghostwriting clients for $2,000 each, and I left college and I went all in on $4,000 a month. And I know that's a little bit irrational, it's a little bit crazy, whatever, but I really believe if you're young, you have much less to lose and you have so much more to gain by taking a risk like that and taking a leap. And I can look back now and saying that's like one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. So anyways, after you've picked and identified a skill that you think you want to monetize, the next step is selling a skill as a service. So once you have your skill picked and you've been practicing it in the real world with your own project, now you can sell it. You don't even need to have prior experience or testimonials to sell a skill. If you are a smart networker, you have emotional intelligence and you know how to package together a compelling offer. So here's how you could do it from zero. First, you could scrape a potential list of leads who fit your ideal customer profile who may need your service. You can DM them, ask them what they're working on, and then present your offer. You can offer free work up front so that they can test the service and see how it does. You can get them good results, which is crucial, and then they'll realize they're better off paying you to do this for them rather than either not doing it or learning how to do it themselves. And then you can get on a sales call and pitch your offer. And one thing to note, because I struggled with this for a while, is if getting on a sales call or trying to sell somebody on your skill in the DM seems unethical or transactional to you, you need to work through and break that belief, because life is a sale. You're selling your ideas when you write online. You're selling yourself when you talk to a girl at the bar. You're selling your personality and your ideas when you're hanging out with your friends, right? If you don't build your own product or service, you will spend your life selling somebody else's. Sales is the lifeblood of a wealth creation-based society, and exchanging value is how the world progresses and evolves. So if you're reading this, or if you're listening to this rather on a computer or phone, realize that somebody actually sold this to you. Do you feel like you got cheated by that? Do you feel like it's unethical? No, probably not, because you feel like it's a mutual value exchange, right? That is ethical sales. That's conscious sales. That's sales as a service, when the value you're providing to somebody else increases the quality of your life and you are rewarded for that value provided. Personally, it took me a while to get over my moral superiority complex regarding sales, which was actually just fear disguising itself as spirituality or a moral high ground. But doing so is the only way that you can build your own offers, you can have other people's lives improve because of your offer, and avoid spending the rest of your life selling somebody else's offer. And there's one final quote on this little tangent from Naval. He says, "If you secretly despise wealth, it will elude you." So if you are broke right now, you aren't able to make money, get to the root of that belief, because you might be subconsciously, unconsciously despising wealth or seeing it as evil, and then you will continue to stay in this cycle of never being able to monetize. Stage 3 is replacing your income and go all in. And I know I touched on this a little bit, but it's so important. So this step, of course, is not for everybody. Everybody's situation is unique. But if you have kids, a mortgage, college debt, a car payment, and a spouse depending on you for a stable income, going all in on the digital economy and online business might be more unrealistic. But I can look back, like I said, and say that was the pivotal moment in my journey when my growth started to accelerate exponentially, because I wasn't dividing my attention between college and creator stuff. It was all in on one. So going all in will present you with a level of autonomy and lifestyle design freedom that even like an 8-figure CEO or entrepreneur can never dream of, right? Once you go all in, even if you're at $3,000 or $4,000 a month, you can gain complete control over your location, your schedule, where you work, when you work, what time you hit the gym, what time you wake up, what time you go to sleep, etc. The real benefit of going all in is it lets you master the skill of autonomous lifestyle design. That privilege is really, really rare, but gaining autonomy over how you live your life is the only way to have a shot at actually actualizing your potential. So what I would recommend doing at any stage is setting a target number. So for some with less to lose, like I was in college, the number might be $2,000 or $3,000 a month if you're going to go move to a foreign country like Buenos Aires, like I did. Or if you have more to lose, if you have a family, you have a high mortgage, etc., that number might be closer to 10K. But regardless of what the number is, I would recommend setting this goal with something to aim at, because if you don't, you will lack that goal to filter your decisions through, and you'll always claim that it's not enough to like make the leap and go all in. What I'd recommend doing is upfront saying, okay, $5,000, once I hit it, I'm quitting my job, I'm going all in. Because if you don't set that intention up front, you're going to stay on this hamster wheel of it never being quite the right time, right? There is no right time. This is an extraordinary decision. But if you want extraordinary outcomes for your life, you have to be willing to take unconventional actions. If you make the same decisions as everybody else, you will end up just like them, ordinary. And personally, I don't like ordinary. I don't want to be ordinary. And I imagine if you're still watching at this point, you don't either. The next step for monetizing your time in the creator economy is adding skills and stacking your offer. So the best freelancers, people that sell a skill, are like plumbers. They have an array of modern skills, and they can identify holes in another person's business and fill the hole with that skill set. So the more skills you add, the more valuable and unique you become to a potential client. Every skill you add doubles your odds of success or doubles your odds of getting lucky. So if you can present your offer with a clear benefit to a creator or entrepreneur you're messaging, give them value up front, like we said, and make an offer that's so good that they can't say no, you can replace your income within 3 to 6 months of starting and go all in if you're smart, persistent, know how to network, and are consistent. And I can say that because it happened to me. It sounds crazy, but it happened to me. What could skill stacking actually look like? Let's take the example of somebody who starts as a ghostwriter, because I have perspective on that, and look at how their offer could evolve and increase in value if they continue to add skills. So they start ghostwriting on Twitter. Then they could add the skill of email marketing. Then they could add the skill of funnel building. Then they can add the skill of direct outreach. Then they can add the skill of sales on top of this. So with a combination of these skills, you can go to any creator or entrepreneur and offer them to grow an audience, funnel their audience to an email list, write compelling email marketing emails, nurture leads in the DMs, and close them on sales calls. And so if you have this broad of a skill set, you could easily add an extra $10,000 to $50,000 a month to a creator's income, depending on their offer. And if you can add $25,000 to $50,000 to somebody's bank account every month, they will happily pay you $5,000 to $10,000 a month. So do you see how skill stacking, progressively adding more skills to your repertoire and your tool belt, is a cheat code for offer creation? So the framework here is be so good that they can't say no. The last step of monetizing your time in the creator economy, which is not to be neglected, is don't neglect audience growth and networking along the journey of freelancing a skill. A trap that many freelancers get caught in is they get stuck investing all of their time, all of their attention, and all of their energy in their freelancing work while neglecting their own brand. And this is how you can get trapped in freelancing. This is how you build yourself into another 9 to 5 accidentally. So you need to be building your audience, your network, and your own creative projects on the side if you want to have a chance at pivoting from monetizing your time to monetizing your mind. And I'm going to be teaching all things audience growth and networking and freelancing in my upcoming cohort, the Sovereign Creator Cohort, starting in April. Okay, so stage 2 is where the leverage kicks in, disconnecting your inputs from your outputs. Stage 2 is monetizing your mind. So throughout this stage, we're going to progress from low leverage opportunities to increasingly high leverage opportunities. So the first way to monetize your mind is in 1v1 or 1-to-1 consulting or coaching. So coaching or consulting is essentially getting paid for the knowledge inside of your head. One-on-one coaching is the first step to gaining more leverage, because if your ideas and thinking can help one person solve a problem, chances are you could probably help 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people, and so on. If you've never done one-on-one coaching before, what I would recommend from experience is start by offering free coaching calls and even like a month-long free program to people in your network for a few different reasons. One, working with someone one-on-one will expose the blind spots and holes in your thinking that then you can cover up and get better yourself, right? The teacher learns more than the student. The process will also force you to refine and improve your systems to the point where you're confident that your systems will get somebody else results. The third reason is you can start to collect testimonials and success stories for your marketing when you start charging. The next thing is you get to practice the skill of coaching with no downside or risk because the program is free. And the fifth thing is you acquire a list of warm leads, because if somebody's interested in your free stuff, it's good. You get them results, and then you take it away. They're more likely to invest in your paid stuff because they've already gotten results. So if you don't know what to consult people on, I would recommend going back to step 1 and choosing a skill, because eventually you can consult people on the skill. Once you get results as a freelancer with a skill or a combination of skills by skill stacking, you can package them together into a consulting offer. And this is the first step towards monetizing your mind instead of monetizing your time. So you can also consult people on softer skills like mindfulness coaching, performance coaching, alignment coaching. I have many friends in the creator game who make a full-time living from these type of niches. And for a while, I was strictly doing performance coaching myself. And my one-on-one offer now is pivoting more into alignment, consciousness, and purpose and performance coaching. So if you're interested in that, feel free to send me a message and we can talk. If you can include a combination of soft skills and hard skills into your coaching offer, you have a grand slam type of offer that is so good that people can't say no to it. The second way to monetize your mind and gain more leverage is group consulting. So once you get results consulting people in a one-on-one setting, the next step to gain more leverage is to go from 1-to-1 to 1-to-many. So with group consulting, you are still helping people one-on-one, but you're taking on more than one person at a time. And this is why having your systems dialed and in place from your one-on-one work is so important. Because if you don't have the systems to get people results in a one-on-one setting, taking on 5, 10, 15 people in a group consulting setting is going to be completely overwhelming. So you want to have your systems dialed to do this. But with group consulting, you have more leverage than one-to-one coaching, but less leverage than a cohort and the rest of the models that we're going to touch on throughout the rest of this video. Your capacity is limited to how many people you can take on because you offer individual calls and a lot of one-on-one support in a one-on-one setting. But this could be a rolling group where clients are added to a community periodically, or it could be a program that runs periodically throughout the year. The next step to gain even more leverage is a cohort. So a cohort is more asynchronous than a group consulting model. This is a model where you'll have a curriculum and a built-in community, but you usually aren't doing one-to-one calls with members of the group unless there's like a VIP section. So you gain even more leverage here because all you have to do is build the program once, and then you could sell as many spots as possible as long as your offer, marketing, positioning, sales, and landing page are all good. You could also rerun the cohort repeatedly. So a cohort model is really good for a recurring revenue throughout the year many times. But if you don't upgrade and iterate on your cohort, eventually it will die out unless the information is just really evergreen, like fitness coaching or online business principles. So this step is usually reserved for those with a larger audience, so anywhere around 5 to 10,000 plus followers. And if you have less than that, it might be hard to fill out a cohort simply because you have less traffic, but it's not impossible. The fourth way to monetize your mind with even more leverage is a community. So this step is incredibly demanding and requires a lot of mental bandwidth, but it is extremely powerful in terms of creating a tribe around you and actually creating your own customers over time. So what do you mean, creating your own customers? What does that mean? It means your low ticket community is the entry ticket for lower levels of awareness customers to enter your digital ecosystem. And I touch on the levels of awareness in marketing and creating your own customers and all of this stuff much more in my Sovereign Creator cohort. So I'm not going to go too deep into the community realm, but to start a community that brings in enough revenue to make it worth your time, you'll likely need a very large audience, a loyal fan base, and really valuable positioning. You could always start this from the beginning, but for me, I'm holding off right now in a community until I have a little bit larger of an audience. The fifth and final way to monetize your mind with the most leverage is evergreen digital products. So digital products are products with no marginal cost of replication. In other words, you can build it once and you can sell it infinitely as long as your audience grows and the product is valuable. So the reason I wouldn't bank on a digital product to be your main source of revenue early on in your journey is you simply don't have the audience or traffic to bring in consistent sales. But if you have a product in conjunction with a higher ticket one-on-one or group consulting offer, that can really help position you as an authority. But again, I wouldn't expect to make a substantial amount of money on a digital product unless you have a really large audience or you're just such an authority in your space. But if you have a large audience or if you plan on having one, a digital product can be a really great way to completely disconnect your inputs from your outputs. So to sum this up, here is what your overall progression in the creator economy, going from monetizing your time to monetizing your mind throughout your journey. So there's no one set path for mental monetization, but this outline, this summary can serve as a rough roadmap for you to think about your journey differently. So step 1, freelance a skill. Step 2, add skills to your skill stack. Step 3, become a plumber and make your offer invaluable to creators, entrepreneurs, and business owners. Step 4, start consulting your unique specific knowledge and expertise. Step 5, launch a group consulting offer. Step 6, launch a larger cohort. Step 7, launch a community. Step 8, sell these curriculums as evergreen digital products. And one final thing to note too, these steps are not mutually exclusive or independent. You can utilize many of them at the same time. Like for example, if you have a digital ecosystem that consists of products, quarterly cohorts, high ticket one-on-one consulting, and even high ticket group consulting, you can make a lot of money from a lot of different ways. So the entire game is all about building out this entire ecosystem it will likely take years if you're just starting, but that's why this is the vessel for our life's work, right? We're not in here to just get rich quick and do it overnight, right? This is a game we are going to be playing for the next 5, 10, 20, 50 years in some capacity. So anyways, with that, thank you for watching. I hope you found this somewhat valuable. If you're interested in joining my upcoming cohort in the beginning of April, there's a link below. If you want to work with me one-on-one in that cohort, there's also a option for that in the sales page for that if you're curious. With that, I really appreciate you watching. If you could send this to a friend who's interested, I'd greatly appreciate it. If you could like, comment, subscribe, that'd be awesome. But with that, have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you in the next video.